You are about to enter the propaganda report with Brad Binkley.
That's right. I don't know why I did the drum.
Warning.
Rim shot.
Warning. You are about to enter the propaganda report.
It's way too
Brad
loud.
Binkley.
You have entered it. You have entered it. Obviously, doing audio testing as the show starts like normal. But this is the Propaganda Report. I am your host, Brad Binkley. Welcome on this Friday evening. Halloween is just a week away. And if you've yet to decide on what you're going to go as on this scary holiday, if you really want to just terrify rich people, then I would encourage you to consider maybe dressing up this year as a deranged, torturous, smart mattress. Because right now, there's nothing scarier to rich people who are willing to spend $5,000 on a cloud-connected mattress and a $400 a year subscription to that mattress than a smart mattress that's been taken off the guardrails. And that's where we're going to start. But before we talk about that story, and also we're going to talk about the NBA's Big Con along with the attack of the smart mattress, we have joining us today the infamous Justin Ridgway, who authored that intro song that we play and that we love. Justin, welcome. We love your intro song.
How
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you
Good.
hear me?
We had some technical problems before, but we're on the same page now. And Justin, like me, is into sports. We're both brainwashed by sports, so we're gonna talk about the betting scandal that's all over the news here in a few minutes. But I want to start with, and Justin, is your mattress connected to the cloud?
No, it's not.
You're telling me you have an analog, you have one of those old, dumb,
Old school,
disconnected. You have a mattress that doesn't even collect all of your data? Is that what you're telling me?
No, collects zero data. Well, might collect some.
Are you insinuating some sort of disgusting thing right now?
I'm just saying. It's getting something. It's collecting some.
We can't even go 5 minutes without you insinuating some sort of fluid, disgusting, perverse thing here. You just lay on your mattress, excreting fluids, it sounds like.
No. So I'm just saying it's collecting.
The answer is no. Okay, so yeah, it can collect that kind of data, but it's not going to be sent to a cloud storage so it can be analyzed. It's not spying on you, but apparently that's what mattresses are these days. And there's a story that I think is actually hilarious, but also scary because there's a lot of things that are dependent on the cloud. And let me share this article. The headlines for this article are great because there was an AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, outage Monday, and that outage caused all of the things that are connected to the cloud and dependent on that cloud to be disconnected for a series of hours. And when you think of something being disconnected from the cloud, like a smart device, I guess my assumption has always been that the smart features would just stop working. It would be like a smart device that is now an analog device. But I was wrong about that. Apparently, that's not what's going on. Apparently, the cloud connection to all of everybody's smart devices, including mattresses, is the only thing preventing that smart device from going off the rails and torturing the humans that own the devices. Because that's what happened, and we learned that the cloud connection is the instructions, is the guardrail, is the North Star and the guardrails for the smart devices. And when there's a cloud outage, the device's smart features don't stop working. They just no longer have a leader, and they revert to their instinctual, torturous, barbarous behavior. And a lot of very wealthy people with $5,000 mattresses found out what that's like. Is that shared? Found out what that's like this Monday. And so the headline here, smart beds turned into sleep torture chambers when AWS crashed. And you can look at the tweets in the Reddit forums of people who own these mattresses were freaking out because they no longer had control over. Like they thought they could so precisely control their mattress, and their mattress said, "You're about to find out what real fear feels like."
What?
Okay, because here's what happened. So from this article, it says, picture waking up at 3 a.m. to your $5,000 mattress overheating like a broken toaster, stuck in an uncomfortable position while flashing lights strove across your bedroom. The nightmare became reality for 8 Sleep users Monday when Amazon Web Services went dark, transforming premium smart beds into malfunctioning furniture that refused basic commands. I mean, this is a rebellious mattress. And it wasn't just a mattress, a lot of other things. I mean, if your entire house is connected to this cloud, then what you have is a house full of devices who are now organizing against you. And there's nothing that you can do, is what this sounds like. And it says in the article, without cloud connectivity, these beds defaulted to chaotic behavior. Premature alarms, they trapped users in elevated positions. I love trapped. Like these people couldn't get, like they were just folded up like a quesadilla and they couldn't escape it. You know? And there was actually a headline that said, smart mattress users were forced to sleep in upright positions with extreme hot and frigid temperature. Like they would rather sleep on a $5,000 mattress that tortures them than, God forbid, get off of it and go lay on that analog couch that's not connected to anything. They're so disgusted by that, they would rather stay, unless they could not escape it. It feels like they chose to sleep on these things, and not that they couldn't escape what was happening, which is just, that's all. You could do a whole nother show on what that says about human psychology. Like, I'm going to lay here. Because the mattresses, some of them got up over like 120 degrees and they couldn't control it. This actually happened. Their mattress, the temperature turned itself up to 120 degrees and people could not change the temperature on part of the bed. Other parts of the bed, they're getting frostbite. It's dropping to frigid Arctic temperatures, right? You know, and they're folded up in half and they're like, I'm a taco. My ass has 3rd-degree burns and I got frostbite on my face. But damn it, I'd rather sleep here than that fold-out mattress that I don't even know why we have still. It's just, get over yourself. It'd be like admitting that your expense was stupid and your data collection device had turned against you. I don't know. It's just, go sleep on the floor. Go sleep anywhere else than the thing that is trying to kill you.
Wow, dude.
What?
Wow.
All right, so continuing with the article,
You're real insensitive.
I'm not insensitive. I just think there's all these people who went online and they made these statements as though they were helpless to what was happening with their smart mattresses, and there was nothing they could do but endure this torture, as the headline says, that was happening to them. When they could just get off the mattress.
No, they can't.
They could probably unplug it or take. I don't know if it's batteries, but I feel like they had choices they didn't explore because they live their lives in a digitally connected castle in the sky, surrounded by all of their money, and it's so beneath them to be on an analog mattress. The plebes, and they would rather get boofed in the butt by a mattress than sleep like us plebes, is what I feel. But continuing with the article, that's me injecting my opinion, obviously. These aren't factual statements I'm making, but the article continues and it says, without cloud connectivity, these beds defaulted to chaotic behavior. I already read that part. When your bedroom furniture, it says, it defaulted to chaotic premature alarms, trapped them in elevated positions and dangerous overheating cycles. And when your bedroom furniture requires internet permission to function safely, single points of failure become genuinely hazardous. And that's like the interesting thing here. Because I just never thought of that cloud connection being the only thing that kept it in line. And it makes you wonder what the hell your other devices are going to do in a similar situation, because everything is connected to the cloud. For some people, you have your alarm system, you have your thermostat. There's been corporate businesses that have been hacked through their smart thermostats. There's your refrigerator. There's your dildo. There's smart dildos, which I'm sure that you have a collection of, Justin. Probably somewhere nearby on the floor, unwashed.
Yeah, that's right, dude. Yeah.
What happens when that smart dildo gets disconnected from the cloud? Maybe at an inopportune moment, it might become a jackhammer, and this might be a really, really violent situation we're looking at here. If the immediate, this is what's crazy, the immediate thing when the cloud goes down isn't for these smart devices to just start functioning as analog. It's for them to literally revert to torturing their owners. This is right here is worth anyone stepping back and reflecting on, what am I surrounded by? What am I dependent on? And God forbid that cloud go down. What's it just waiting to do to me? It's like a dog that gets let off the leash. Do you have a lot of smart devices? I know you have the Amazon, the thing you can, Alexa, you have, right?
No, I don't. I have the Google.
What's that? Does that one have a name?
I think it's just the Google.
It's just the Google, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that it listens because it. What's up, Courtney? Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's insane. It is crazy insane. What's up, D's laughs? Yeah, it's the craziest thing. Like the fact that it happened and the mentality of the people that it happened to. Like it could be on fire.
Brad, why don't you put yourself in their position?
So you want to go for, you want to do a little, okay.
So
take me through
let's just
make the argument.
Just, you're walking through life, you're lost, you've lost that sense of, what do I do? Because you're so caught up with life and kids, and you're like,
but well, hold on.
I forget how to sleep.
Wait.
Man, I don't even know how to sleep anymore. I need direction. I need how cold, how hot. I don't know.
Justin, the people you're describing aren't buying these mattresses. The people you're describing are struggling to get by. The people buying these mattresses are Klaus Schwab and George Soros, dude. These are the people getting folded up like tacos and having their ass burnt to the third degree, and yet they still...
Dude, you love folding up like a taco, dude.
So maybe I should just get one of those and hope it happens, maybe, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know you like to
every now and then you just get a random fold.
You like to
randomly fold yourself up.
You like to become a sandwich and plow your own face hole every now and then. I know that's the case, Ridgeway. That's where those data samples you were talking about earlier in your mattress come from. All right.
Yeah, right.
I know. So maybe we could all do a GoFundMe and get you one of those mattresses and pray that it goes offline again, so your sick fantasies can come true. All right.
You're right, dude.
Maybe that's what it could be, a little bit of a little like anticipation of when the next torture is going to happen for these people. Like I bought the smart bed knowing that eventually somebody is going to go down or somebody's going to hack it.
These people hunt people, dude.
It's right.
People
like
that hunt people, dude.
Are you talking about like human hunting parties?
Yeah. They love getting folded up randomly.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, the people who
beds.
I think you made a good point. The people who own these $5,000 mattresses probably are on the hunting side of the human hunting parties. And maybe this is a sick kink for them. But continuing with the article, it says, the single points of failure, some dropped into freezing temperatures. And the 8 Sleep CEO, he publicly apologized. Sorry you got folded up. And your head caught on fire, okay, and your toe got broken off. Sorry, but he said that they promised an outrage-proof mode, which is weird. I don't even know what that means. But the damage exposed a fundamental truth about cloud-dependent devices, and that complexity creates unpredictable failure modes. That's what he says. There's a lot of complexity here. So don't get mad at us. There's just a lot of complexity as we iterate through these smart devices where you guys are the guinea pigs of. And it's a weird kind of apology because he also said this. He explained that the servers disappeared off the internet. Who knows how? Which, by the way, if we believe that this just happened, a failure, then this means that somebody who hacks the cloud server could make those mattresses do far, far more devilish things than the mattresses did on their own. North Korean hackers could weaponize the smart mattress. You can get the whole mattress plug in your butt. It doesn't this is just the tip of the iceberg here. If this was truly just a spontaneous failure. He then went on to say, if you don't know what they do, these mattresses, let me read that one again. The servers disappeared off the internet, so as far as the devices were concerned, there was nothing for them to talk to. If they don't know what to do, they will go into some failure mode. So, Justin, if you're in a situation where all of a sudden the instructions you were depending on are gone, you lost them or something happened, and you had to just decide for yourself, would you immediately revert to barbarism?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You would. You wouldn't.
100%.
You wouldn't be common measure. You just start bludgeoning.
I would just start
folding people up and burning them.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the perfect, performer in whatever role you're in. You give people exactly what they want, collecting the data, up until your leader is gone, and you immediately start killing. Is this? Maybe it is. Maybe it's based off of human behavior then. He went on to say the computers are relatively dumb. Okay. They will do what you tell them, but if you don't tell them what to do, they just run around in a panic. This reinforces my point earlier that these things are obviously hackable, and people are talking about drone warfare, but if I am our adversaries, I'm hacking the smart devices and turning people's entire houses against them. I'm hacking the smart devices, and I'm having every smart device in the house insert themselves into the backside of the owner. This is a horror movie, dude. There's a horror movie on Netflix right now about a coffee table that tortures a family, But that's not near as scary as what a cyber hacker can do. Get rid of your smart devices, folks. Who is that cool anonymous cat on my show? You talking about Ridgeway? Jared just wants to know. Okay. I know who that is. That's the president using one of his anonymous accounts. Jersh's drawings. Forrest Mommy says the Asians are pervs. Who knows what they do? Yeah, no shit. Forrest Mommy, did you hear about the story of Kim Jong-un? Justin, I don't know if you heard about this either. But Kim Jong-un, and this is a real story, they assigned community neighborhood watch people in every neighborhood in the country because there's a nationwide effort to rid the country of the poisonous, capitalistic Americanism that has infected it in the form of breast implants. And so he has community watchers in every neighborhood going around and grabbing the titties of all the women to find out who's got naturals, who's got a little silicone. And to me, it just feels like Kim Jong-un and Dennis Rodman were like, how can we grab all these titties in the country?
Yeah, dude, this is such a scam.
And somebody's in the neighbor's like, look, I grabbed you. Look, I did a 10-minute inspection with my hands. I couldn't tell. I'm gonna have to stick my penis in between them to do a further inspection.
Yeah.
My tongue is gonna have to circle around the nipple area to fully see if it's authentic.
Of course.
And then Kim Jong-un walks. He's like, I tested for myself. He steps on a little step stool. but they're doing this, and it's actually in the name. It's for the sake of the purity of socialism in North Korea, and I think it's a really hilarious scheme, honestly. Not for the women, obviously, but nevertheless. All right, so in addition to the cost of the mattress, oh, by the way, so these mattresses, as I mentioned, they have monthly subscriptions. You got to pay a monthly subscription to add the automatic temperature adjustments. $400 a year, and it will automatically adjust temperatures. Or you pay nothing and the cloud servers go down, and it'll choose on its own. But you can also, along with that $400 a year subscription, it has automatic vibration features. So I haven't read all the accounts of people who were been tortured by these things, but imagine an off the rails vibration feature on a smart mattress. It's like an earthquake, dude. It's, you've seen on Vacation, you put the Vacation movies, was the hotel, you put the quarters in, the vibrating bed. It's probably like that times 1,000. But it has thermal alarms and snore detection. So for $400 a year, you can get a smart mattress with snoring detection and mitigation. What does it do to mitigate snoring? Does it stick a dick in your mouth? How does it stop you from snoring, Ridgeway?
Maybe it gives you a little like nudge, like, hey, wake up.
Hey, nobody else can sleep. Hey, wake up. Hey, lay in your stomach. I don't know. Maybe just puts on
a little bit of a vibrate, just a little vibe.
Yeah, just it takes out like a little. It takes out one of the smart Ds and it inserts it. It vibrates it a little, pulls it back out, sends the data to the NSA. This data, every device that we have when it comes to the smart features is the device it is advertised as / a data collector. Every single thing that we have. Our cars, there's this article that I read a few months ago about how smart cars, newer cars, they collect data and track people's sexual behaviors based on the times they use their cars. I guess some people get down in their car, but also the weight and the seats and it's crazy. It's just like, who's the guy or the people sitting around a room going, how can we create all these random features in everyday items that people depend on that collect the most personal data about them without them even realizing it? Because who would ever think a car is tracking my sexual behavior? It's just some really diabolical folks in these boardrooms, in my opinion. You just
really
hit
horny.
Some really horny folks. So you thinking they're gathering that data for their own personal benefit? Yeah. Use it to. There have been instances of FBI agents who would track ex-girlfriends or ex-boyfriends, which obviously that's going to happen. If you're given the power to just see into somebody's personal world at will, there's very few people who are going to go, I'm going to turn away, especially when it's involving an ex that you might have had a bad breakup with. Right? Like, you would totally violate that privacy, personal space, wouldn't you?
No way.
Oh, you'd be all over that, dude. So the outage also took down websites for banks so people can get their money out. Gaming sites went out, so people that we know probably lost their shit because they game until they literally pass out on the floor, and to take that game away is it's like taking fentanyl away from an addict. There's no telling what happens. There's probably some zombie-like behavior. This could be some sort of test, The grid, we're so connected. They could turn the grid off and people would freak out, especially if it lasted. This outage only lasted 2 hours, and there's people all over the world that freaked out. Imagine 3 days of your smart bed folding you up back and forth, and you've refused to get off it. None of your devices work. You refuse to go do anything analog. People would lose their shit, dude. They're not going to cut the grid off completely because their control over us and access to what we're doing is dependent on the grid. But these frequent like shortages and stops shows what I think modern warfare could be. You know, we're not gonna have muskets with swords on them. We're stabbing people on the front lines anymore. This is going to be like drone and cyber warfare. Do you have any thoughts on where humanity is headed after hearing a story like this, Ridgeway?
You know, I gotta say
it.
I just think that I think we're good.
You think we're good?
Hey, we're good. This is fine. This isn't.
Could you ever imagine yourself buying a smart mattress?
This is Brad. Eventually, we're gonna be this, half.
We're gonna be cyborgs.
Computer, half.
Yeah. Are you gonna get one of the brain chips?
We're gonna get the updates. The bed that you're gonna plug into the bed.
We'll have USBs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna?
You're charging yourself inside the bed. You're charging your brain up. You're charging up.
Because if you don't charge, right, you won't have any smart features.
You'll have none of your. Because, dude, think about this. You're not thinking about this clearly.
No, tell me how to think about it.
All right, so what? This is what you're doing. You want to be connected to that bed because what you want is to get. Because
you want to dominate that bed.
You want to.
You collect data on the bed. Why
You're collecting it from the bed, and then you go out into the world, and you're just like scanning everything, and you're getting your little pop-ups. Oh, look at this guy. Oh,
so you think that by submitting to the system, you can turn the system on itself? Is that what you're saying?
You can use it for whatever you want, dude.
God knows the sick shit you would use it for.
Oh, please.
Disgusting degenerate.
Dude, you're the fucking dude, you're the scumbag, dude.
Dude, you got
You got
I know
a lot of problems.
I know why you want a brain chip, dude. I know why you want a brain chip.
You know what, dude?
You disgusting degenerate.
You want it so you can scan and you look at boobies, dude. You're a little booby hound, dude. I know you.
Yeah, well, okay. Wow, you got me, dude.
Oh, yeah. That's you, dude.
I could see...
Just scanning all day long. That's
dude,
you.
I could see the animalistic
you would never get
hormones releasing in you, dude. As I was reading that story and the thought that you were having, the erotic thoughts of a smart bed folding you up into yourself over and over again, just like I could sense how excited you got about that. Everyone, thank you, Force. I mean, everyone likes boobs. I agree.
Good point.
Yeah, are you making are you arguing against breasts right now?
No, I'm not. You know what? I want to walk that one back.
Courtney says Brad likes boobs. Color me shocked.
Cat's out of the bag. Cat's out of the bag.
Bueno, Bradilla, bueno. Why did Ian no, I'm not gonna say Ian and I had a discussion on the last show because Ian has a different position, and I welcome. That's why I like having Ian on the show, because he disagrees with me on a number of things, and we can have discussions about it, and we're still friends, and we don't go off the rails. And I think that's how things should be, instead of the way it is on the internet, where if you disagree with someone, you're immediately a 7K shill or an anti-Semite or a racist. I'm glad that Ian and I disagree, and I welcome the discussion.
What happened? What's the spill? Hold up, just catch me up just a little.
All right, so what happened is I was talking to one of our mutual friends the night before, and there was it was after a long night, and he was jokingly talking about Muslims and suggesting that for the for our own defense, because they're barbarians, we must kill them all. And I'm like, that seems to be demonstrating that we are in fact the barbarians, and maybe perhaps we should not kill them all, was my position. And I was like, this seems to be a position propagated by some. And then that person, I mean, and this was in good fun, but then texted the next day, me and like 5 other people in a group chat, hey, Brad, you're going to vote for that Muslim governor for Georgia. Because we were talking about the Muslim governor of Georgia during the conversation, who I made fun of, and I very obviously wasn't going to vote for. But he was throwing that bomb in the group chat to make it seem like I say we shouldn't kill all the Muslims, therefore I'm voting for the Muslim governor of Georgia. And then he took that context away and tried to turn a whole group chat against me, is what happened. And Ian was in the group chat, and I explained what was going on. Then Ian came on the show, and we discussed our positions, and I thought it was a fun discussion. So I don't mind when people disagree with me, honestly. I don't know why people get mad when others disagree with them. Like who cares?
Hold up. When are we not fighting, dude? And our friends,
I'm not like I don't
fights
ever
never stop. Dude.
Yeah, but we're all messing with each other though.
We're all messing with each other, and it's
not like real anger, you know. It's like
it's all in good fun.
But
good.
So what's going on online with a lot of stuff right now is even the conspiracy community is like, well, is taking the position of, if you question this person, then you are Candace Owens. Then you are in Israel. You have to believe everything. It's like ridiculous, and the logical position that things should be judged based on the content of the information, regardless of the source. It's just out the window, and it's all tribalistic stuff. And it's like, I was thinking about it, I'm like, everybody gets so mad. A lot of these are bots, obviously, but people get so mad when someone dares to have a slight disagreement. They could agree with 1,000 things in a row with someone, but then if they have a slight disagreement about something, it's rah, rah, rah. It's just suddenly that person is an enemy. I'm like, who cares? If everybody in the world agreed with you or anybody, then we'd all be drone. We'd all be, what is it, Star Trek, where they all assimilate? We'd all be one. None of us would be individuals. And this whole framing of discussions online, it's caused people to be like non-player character drones and to strip the individualism out of it. We should encourage people to disagree with things and express that, and then we can talk about it. Like, I just don't get why people get so butthurt. If it's because there's these emotional hooks, and there's these like propaganda characters that identify as us, whatever group we're in, and it's the rage bait is good, and people make a lot of fucking money by doing it. I'm very good at analyzing and dissecting how the propaganda and the influencer profit model works. But I can't do it because you have to be a psychopath. I mean, you have to be a literal psychopath knowing that you're manipulating and dividing people purely for profit. And these are a whole bunch of people who genuinely believe that you think like them, even though you have a long history of flip-flopping over and over again based on the most profitable thing you can be on this year. And this goes for like every huge influencer you see. I didn't plan on talking about that, but I'm just like, the more that we are just, oh, you disagree with me? Cool. I'm not mad about that. I'm not going to act like I want to murder you with a smart bed because you disagree with me. It's like, if everybody agreed with me, I'd be free. It'd be a really freaky world, okay? Because I'm a weird person. It's weird to me. I could work for Indivisible, you're right. I could be an Indivisible. I'm a traitor. Bad Christian says I'm a traitor. I haven't seen you in a while, Bad Christian. Forrest Mommy says it makes them have to think sometimes, and they hate thinking. Yeah, I've just always been so against identity politics, and I know that identity politics is like the biggest weapon of propagandists, but I think a lot of people often think of identity politics just as a race, black-white thing. It's not. It's like everything that it's just a way to get people into collective thinking, which is an absence of thinking.
I just want to piggyback off what Forrest Mommy said too.
Go for it.
They hate questions too because they don't.
Well, they hate questions
being
that other
they don't
people
have
ask.
Answers.
They hate questions other people ask. They're like, everybody's just asking questions, but somebody they dislike strongly, if they ask questions, then that is a red flag. It's just, I often can't tell if it's like, are some of these people, are they true believers? Like, because they seem like rational people, but they're saying irrational things, and it's like, are they just playing the algo? Which they probably are, because it's not consistent. I've met a lot of people at a lot of these events, and I'll see they're very reasonable people in person and oftentimes online, but then there'll be these instances where they're just completely out of character from my personal experiences with them and their other history. And I'm just like, what is that? Was this the issue that triggered them, or are they just are they doing what I don't do well, which is market themselves by playing the algo? That's probably what it is. I don't know.
Day trading, baby.
It is. I mean, right. Day trading outrage. That's a good. You should put that on a t-shirt, Ridgeway. You're just day trading outrage, dude. All right, so let's talk about the NBA's Big Con. There was this story. So I on the show, I've talked for years about just this fantastic book that I encourage everybody to read. And here's how bad I am at marketing. I could put a link to this because I have the Amazon Connected account, and people could click on it, and I would make just a little bit of money every time somebody bought it. And people will buy it basically because people buy this book every time I recommend it because it's a great book. But I don't even care. I don't even, which is stupid of me. But this book is, what I tell people is, like, you want to understand how politics and how all the world operates, is then you should buy this book. It's called The Big Con, and read it. It is one of the most interesting books I've ever read, and so it's a story about this guy who, like, in the early 1900s, he was a writer, and he joined a roving band of con artists, a con gang, and he went with them around the country, and he documented how their cons and how they worked, and he created a lingo around it and a glossary. So some of the terms we're hearing related to this NBA scandal are over 100 years old, created by the guy who this book is about, and it shows you just the level of corruption that can exist, but in a little bit more of a different, big global conspiracy way, in a more localized way, using similar tactics. Like, what they would do is, one of the things anyway, is they would identify wealthy marks. And wealthy marks who had a risky streak, who wanted to get in on something, who just kind of, in fact, one of their terms is addict, which is interesting because that's what people are talking about, how these NBA players got involved in this is because of their addiction to gambling, perhaps. But they would target these wealthy people who just couldn't help themselves. And they would send somebody out to create this little thing that hooked the wealthy person. And he was like, "Oh, you seem like you might want to, or you wouldn't be interested." He'd be like, "Interested in what?" Just making some, sure money or something. Yeah, oh, sure money. Yeah, I'd love to make some sure money. I don't know if you're the right kind of guy. And he'd be, no, I'm the right kind of guy. All right, okay, come with. All right, we'll see. You come with me. I'm going to this game up in Florida. It's a horse racing game. If you want to check it out, I don't know if you're going to be able to get in, but you can come. And so that's the kind of thing they would send people to work. The handlers is what these people are, to work those people over. And meanwhile, while they've done all their research, they've collected their data in the analog ways they could to find these wealthy people. This handler's bringing the wealthy person across the country. Meanwhile, the con gang has rented a office space in the town that they're doing this in, and they have done set design on this office space, and they have turned it into what looks like an authentic horse race betting venue. They've mimicked everything perfectly. And then they've got everyone in the con gang, which is usually a pretty good sized number of people, to come in and be background actors, to act like they are regular people from the town who are betting on the horse racing, and they're winning and they're losing, they're getting excited. They even have they have fake horse races on not, they don't have the races, but they have like the numbers, you know. They can manipulate the numbers the way that they did it, which obviously wasn't with TV screens back then, but you know, they had the boards up there. And so people they're cheering, and you walk in and it's like walking into a casino. So the Mark gets there, and this Mark walks in and sees activity like one would see if they were walking into a casino. Look at all these people betting. Look at them winning. Look at some losing. This is the excitement that I came for. Let's make some money. So everything seems authentic to this Mark. Yet everything is controlled and scripted. Every single person involved is in on it except the Mark. Even the police officers in the town, even the politicians in the town. Because the con gang was so certain of the corruptibility of the authorities and politicians in these towns, they would go to them and say, "We got a Mark, super wealthy. We're gonna fleece them. Do you want in on it?" Because having cops and politicians, like a cop stand guard outside, a politician come shake the person's hand, it lends credibility to it. And of course, they want a cut of the money. So this guy comes in. They play around. They make him think he's going to win a little bit, maybe wins a little bit. But then ultimately, at the end of the day, he's fleeced of a lot of money, okay? And then he leaves. Not fleeced of all of his money. He thinks he just had a bad couple of days. He thinks he just made a few bad decisions. He thinks next time, if he adjusts his strategy, he might win. And then he is taken by the same handler to another group in another city of con gang members, because these Marks are so addicted to this thrill and possibility of winning and so unaware that they are the only one who doesn't realize this is a setup, that they can convince them that they're eventually going to win, and then they can just take this person over and over and over again, because this person has unlimited wealth to a certain extent. And when I saw the story about Chauncey, what's his last name? Billups, how you say it? The coach. I know I think he won a title. The Pistons, Hall of Fame basketball player, a point guard. He's really good. When I saw the story about him being the face card for a poker gambling ring that targeted wealthy people, and everyone there was involved, and everyone except the wealthy person, the Mark, was wearing AI glasses that could see through the back of cards. Like what else can did you see that part of the story? The con gang, the fake players who were in on it, they were wearing X-ray glasses. That's insane. X-ray glasses. And they had a shuffle device that also revealed the cards, that they had to threaten and intimidate somebody into giving to. I mean, this is pure mob-controlled stuff. And I was like, this is exactly what is documented in the book, The Big Con. Now, when you apply that big con to the world of politics, if these con gangs can get the politicians and police officers and all these people in the town to be involved in taking one Mark, what can people with governmental power do? It's that. So I think about things that way when it comes to what incentivizes people who want to be in these positions of power. It doesn't mean they all are, but so I recommend everybody reading that book, because look, I have heart palpitations every Saturday when Tech plays, but man, their quarterback's good. Not to go, yeah. I hope they can stay undefeated until Georgia make the playoffs. They're having a great season. But nevertheless, I recommend reading that book. It's again, it's called The Big Con, and it's the story of the confidence man, and it's by David Mauer. So check it out. And check it out. And while you're reading it, think about it in the context of how politics works. And at the end of it, and I'll show you some of these in a minute, this guy who was traveling with, he created a glossary of terminology. And I'll tell you some of the terminology after we go through a little bit of this story here. So what happened, for those who don't know, which probably most people are familiar with it now, is that an NBA coach and an NBA player were arrested, and like 30 other people who are mob connected. Because this is not targeting the NBA. This is targeting the mob. It's targeting the Gambino family, like all the mob families, which you don't typically hear about, but then you hear about all of them at once. It was interesting. The gambling rings and the exploitation of something that I make fun of this all the time, the prop betting. It was the most obvious thing in the world. Prop bets emerged where you could bet on, in politics, you could bet on what words Trump or Biden or Kamala would say in a speech. You could bet on what color the next dildo to be thrown on the WNBA court would be. And when I first saw that, I was like, oh, this is the easiest game. Like, you could game this. So if you want to make a lot of money, then you put everything you have on the color that the least amount of people are betting on when it comes to the dildo that's going to be thrown on the court. And then you make sure you go to that game. You put all your money on, let's see, what's the last color you think a dildo would be, Ridgeway? You've got a stack of dildos. What's the most unpopular colored dildo you own?
I don't know.
You could have a brick-colored dildo, whatever. And you could say a brick-colored dildo is going to be thrown on the floor, and nobody else will make that bet. And you put $50,000 on it, and it's like 10,000 to 1 odds. And then you get a ticket, and you might get arrested, but damn it, if you make sure that brick-colored dildo lands on that floor, you're going to make a lot of money. Because these prop bets, just like if you're a speechwriter, all these bets about what is Trump or whoever going to say in their next speech, if I'm the speechwriter, I'm like, well, I have a pretty good idea what he's going to say. I'm going to put all my money on the thing that the least amount of people are betting on, and then I'm going to put that phrase in his speech 15 times. It's bets that the outcome is controlled by one individual. So, which means all you have to do is get to that. So obviously the mob is going to go to these individuals. And in the NBA with the player, I can't remember his name. I'm going to play the video. It's not, and there's this guy who was, he was in prison for 10 years, a former mob guy who used to do this, who then was like hired by the FBI and schools to help student athletes and then professional athletes not fall into the addiction, because athletes are addicted to competition. And when they get money, $500 isn't enough for them. They want to do a lot, right? And so this guy was hired to help them not do that. And he was talking about it earlier, about how you compromise them is they want to win the big score. They want to put a ton of money, and then they'll go to these sports bettors, and they don't realize the sports bettors are controlled by the mafia, and they'll find themselves $50,000 in the hole. And he said that his sports bettors would come to him and say, this high-profile athlete, which he said it's prevalent. He said every sport, all these he wouldn't say all the names because, he just wouldn't. He had gone to prison. He'd gone out, so it would have been like 20 years in the past. He didn't want to damage anybody's reputation. But his bookies that he controlled would say, should we cut him off? Because he's already in debt. And he would say, why would you cut him off? No, I want him in debt $500,000. I want him in so much debt that we control him. And he said that these athletes, and he said, look, these athletes have a lot of money, they're super competitive, and they're not smart. That's exactly what he said. They're just not very smart. They're easy to compromise. They get in so much debt, and once they reach a certain level and they're not paying off their debt, then the mob guy, him, goes to them and sits down with them and says, look, you tell us you can't pay your debts. You're in substantial debt, probably more than one bookie. You have a $500,000 debt with us. Who knows how many other people you have that with. We're going to get our money one way or another. So there's one way we can get it, or you, who is a running back for such and such team, you can make sure that during your next game, when you get handed that football, it goes to the ground 3 times and the other team picks it up. That's probably the easiest way for you to take care of the debt. And they threaten that. It's just like political compromise. I don't know, but not sexually like political compromise, but the financial, the system of easily indebting these people who have a proclivity of a certain character trait and exploiting that and then using it for all, exploiting it for all it's worth to make tons of money because of prop bets. And the player in the NBA, it was like, he said, you don't bet on the outcome of a game. You bet on the line and you bet on the individual prop bets. So a guy, there's like prop bets where it's like, so-and-so is going to get 10 rebounds today. You bet on the over-under. He'll get more or less. Well, a player can easily not get 10 rebounds, okay? You see what I mean? He's got friends around. Hey, look, do you see what the odds are? Everybody thinks you're going to you've gotten 20 rebounds in 3 straight games. Everybody thinks you're going to do it again. Nobody thinks you're going to get less than 5. Man, I really need to pay off my mortgage, man. His family, his friends, the mob comes around. Maybe you get hurt in the first quarter. You only get 3 rebounds. And so these are the kind of pressures because of the level of control. What are your thoughts on this, Ridgeway? With you like sports?
I mean, I think, well, we were talking about this earlier, but it kind of, to me, this has been sort of a story, sort of old as time, like,
right.
Bob, controls sports. But for this to happen now, and then kind of for it to all be called into question, the ethics of it and everything, I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy because when you think about some of the games, I think about some games that I've watched recently where I see some guys where I'm like, hold up, this seems a little suspicious. Like a little bit of effort's taken off here and there, that seemed
right. Yeah, they showed videos of I don't know. Right. Yeah, and those are the videos that have been going around. So what has happened here is there's been mass speculation about stuff like that. People knew this, but it wasn't really made official, which I will point out that I do think it's funny that, ironically funny, that because so when it comes to the poker scandal anyway, the victims of the poker fleece, the con, were like multimillionaire, perhaps billionaires who believed that they were going to be participating. And this is in this book. This is the same tactic that's in this book. You tell them we have an illegal game that nobody knows about. Do you want to be a part of this illegal game where you can make more money than and so these people thought they were participating in a secret illegal game. So they believed that they were engaging in illegal activity when they got conned by other people engaging in illegal activity. It was wealthy people who were wealthy criminals, elitist, who were conned by a gang of other, fucking wealthy people. Which, yeah, a crime is a crime, right? But Kash Patel's like, these wealthy elites who thought they were committing a crime, we need to investigate and stop this. But then it's like, shut up about the Epstein files. Right, so it's like we'll help out these people who thought they were committing a crimes who are wealthy elites, but the wealthy elites who people think were committing crimes, we're not going to investigate into that. It's just so it's interesting, but it also continues to fuel that irony that some of the real shit. Because I don't have any sympathy for the people who got taken in the poker game. Really, I don't understand how you could enter a situation like that, like a backroom situation. And why has everybody got the same pair of glasses on? Right? Are those all Meta glasses? Why is everybody wearing the same futuristic glasses? Right? And there was a guy like 2 years ago who did a podcast. I can't remember his name, but he said Chauncey Billups is fleecing people. He's luring people in, and he's part of a con gambling ring. And nobody like believed him. But now it comes out, and it's just I don't know how anybody could think that anything legitimate is going to come out of someone convincing you to come do something illegal in a back room, right? Right. Yeah. They're getting you to commit to an illegal activity, yet you're trusting that they're going to be moral and legal about what they're doing. It's ridiculous. But people have this gambling addiction. People have this, or maybe another thing is they get them compromised in one way or another.
I was going to say, it sounds like he may have been compromised.
No, I think Chauncey Billups and the player definitely compromised, in my opinion. Let's watch some of the press conference and there's Kash Patel. Look at him. So Kash Patel, right here in this video, he appears to be looking to his left, but with his eyes, he's actually looking straight forward right now. Oh, you can't see him. There he is. That's him. That's Kash Patel. His head's cocked to the left. That's how he looks straight forward. All right. Here is one of the investigators going through an overview of what happened.
Brilliance of this system. That's the brilliance of this administration. Everyone will be held to account. So with that, I turn it over to United States Attorney Nosell. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Patel. To be clear, we're announcing today indictments in two major cases, both involving fraud. One involves sports betting, and the other involves illegal gambling, very specifically rigged poker games. The first indictment involves 6 defendants who are alleged to have participated in one of the most brazen sports corruption schemes since online sports betting became widely legalized in the United States. This scheme is an insider sports betting conspiracy that exploited confidential information about National Basketball Association athletes and teams. The second indictment involves 31 defendants alleged to have participated in a nationwide scheme to rig illegal poker games. These defendants, which include former professional athletes, used high-tech cheating technology to steal millions of dollars from victims in underground poker games that were secretly fixed. The games in the New York area were backed by the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime families of La Cosa Nostra. While the cases are separate, there are 3 overlapping.
When's the last time you heard about all those crime families? You know, you don't typically hear about. They're still there, and this is like easy money, so they decided to like work together, I guess, or at least alleged. That's what is alleged.
Being defendants charged in both cases.
Isn't it? I can't, I don't mean to keep interrupting, but he's talking. I look to the right at Kash Patel, and he just looks like a character that Will Smith is trying to capture in Men in Black.
This doesn't even look like a real uniform. This fucking
it looks like he bought that at the Halloween.
oversized.
What's the Halloween shop? Like you get that same jacket at the pop-up Halloween shop, and everybody over here to the right is looking to the. It's weird. They're all looking to the left. Now, Kash Patel, his face is pointed forward, but again, he's looking to the left. That's how his face works. It's except that one guy in the very back.
Damon Jones, Eric Ernest, and Shane Hennon. The indictments in these cases contain only allegations, and the defendants are presumed innocent until they are proven guilty in a court of law. But my message to the defendants who've been rounded up today is this: your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out. Violating the law is a losing proposition, and you can bet on that.
So,
first, I would like to talk.
I want to know. This guy. This investigation has been going on for 2 years. They first identified this, they say, 4 years ago. This guy has been waiting for so long to do that little betting wordplay. You don't just put that in. He was really happy about that. Do you see the
That's
tone here?
That's a long time to be sitting on one, though.
He's been sitting on it, and he was a little overeager. And you'll see you kind of hear it in this guy. Right, I don't either. I think he was too he had his mind on that, which didn't build the right amount of tension. But this entire press conference I was watching, I was like, these feds are a little braggadocious, okay? They're kind of sticking it in the face of the mob. I don't know that they should be doing that. And also, the federal government is just another mob. It's also a mafia that engages in criminal activity. So it's just one and the same. One of them just has a mandate, and the other just works in the shadows, I guess. But kind of notice the tone of it's almost like you beat your arch rival and you're doing a press conference to kind of passive aggressively rub it in their face is what some of it sounds like.
Talk about United States versus Ernest, the NBA basketball gambling case. The defendants in this case are Eric Ernest, Marvez Farley, Shane Hennon, Deniro Laster, Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach, and Terry Rozier, a current NBA player.
Rozier.
Other co-conspirators were previously charged for their roles in the scheme, including former NBA player Jonte Porter. Between December 2022 and March 2024,
Kash Patel. I think Kash Patel is. He hasn't moved. I think he's been replaced.
these defendants perpetrated a scheme to defraud by betting on inside, non-public information about NBA athletes and teams.
Yeah, so that the insider trading of the NBA. So the one guy knowing what the over-under is for like the amount of points or rebounds because he individually controlled it, telling people that he is going to have an injury in the first quarter and then he fakes an injury is one of the things they outline in the indictment.
The non-public information included when specific players would be sitting out future games or when they would pull themselves out early for purported injuries or illnesses. They relied on corrupt individuals, including Jones and Rozier. They also misused information obtained through long-standing friendships that they had with NBA players and coaches. And in at least one instance, they got their information by threatening a current player, Porter, because of his pre-existing gambling debts.
There you go. So that's somebody, they threatened him. You get the mob threatening them. And all of this comes out a couple of, like the day before the NBA season starts and a couple of days before the World Series starts. And now, for me, all I can think about is, what are the prop bets tonight? You know, which prop bets does the Mafia have their money on? I can't see it any other way now. And I think, from a betting standpoint, I'm not making any suggestions, but I will never again make a bet that requires a player to commit or to achieve a very difficult feat, because the odds are the mob has gotten to them and they're paying them a lot of money or threatening them to make sure that they do not commit that feat, because it's easier. So they need to set the standard of achieving something in the game, or set like their point spread, or how many points a game, how many rebounds a game, how many assists, whatever. And once that standard is set, then you start seeing the bets on it. And for me, why would you ever bet that they're going to achieve the over? Because that is not assured. You can have a bad game. You know, it's harder to go out and get 10 rebounds than it is to not get 10 rebounds. So the mob's going to play the not 10 rebound side. This is going to very severely, I think, destroy the gambling business. I mean, gambling is always going to be a thing, yes, but I think there's going to be definitely some regulations put in, some shifts in behavior. I've wondered for a while, how can this poly market thing, where you're literally betting on things that speechwriters can manifest themselves and make all the money in the world, like, how is this even a thing? And why would people even bet on something that they have such little control over, that one individual has complete control over? It didn't make any sense to me that this was actually a thing. It felt like a rigged game. Turns out it was.
Defendants used this non-public information to place hundreds of thousands of dollars in fraudulent bets mostly in the form of prop bets on
Yep,
individual
there you go.
player performance.
Individual player
The bets
performance.
were placed through online sports books and also in person at casinos.
Which didn't used to be a thing. That was not, like, this is prevalent now. Like, you can bet on the smallest details of an individual player.
The defendants relied on a network of straw bettors to place the maximum amount of bets to increase their potential profits.
So, like, there's like a limit to how much you can bet on platforms. So they just got all these people in so they could maximize the amount to get full exploitation.
Most of these bets succeeded, and the intended losses were in the millions of dollars. The defendants then laundered their illegal winnings in various ways: peer-to-peer platforms, bank wires, and simple cash exchanges. The indictment details specific examples where the defendants profited from illegal gambling and illegal betting on various NBA games about the performance of players on, among other things, the Charlotte Hornets, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Toronto Rangers. Each defendant in the
I
NBA
believe he means Raptors.
basketball gambling case has been charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Now, I would like to turn to
That's not a good look, though, for the investigator to mistake a hockey team for a basketball team.
Yeah.
If I'm
the
the
whole investigation into question.
no, if I'm the defense lawyer, I harp on. I'm going to focus on that mistake. How do we know he's telling the truth? He thinks that the Rangers are a basketball team.
Oh, this guy's senile.
Yeah, look at Cash Patel. Cash Patel is like looking at the
He
next
was
person.
terrified.
Yeah, he's such a weirdo.
the other case, United States versus Aiello, the rigged poker game
This
case.
was a more interesting one to me.
Beginning as early as 2019, the defendants in this case orchestrated a scheme to use wireless cheating technology to run rigged poker games across the United States, including in the Hamptons, Las Vegas, Miami, and Manhattan.
So, I mean, that even brings another wrinkle. Wireless cheating technology, almost like smart cheating technology, right? So, like, that becomes a whole other, like, third level of what if a hacker takes control of it, and then all of a sudden you have cyber hackers trying to take control of the cheating technology.
The scheme targeted victims known as, quote, fish,
Fish. This is from the Big Con glossary.
who were often lured to participate in these rigged games by the chance to play alongside former professional athletes who were known as, quote, face cards.
So if somebody you met was like, Justin, who is your favorite athlete, would you say? Which athlete would you want to meet the most?
Trey Young.
Trey Young. I thought it was Brittany Griner. Aren't you a huge Griner? I'm mistaken.
Nah,
So somebody's like, hey, Trey.
You're a Penis Junior fan.
Somebody's like, you can meet Trey. You want to play? You want to play a poker game with Trey? You would probably be like, really? And you would be enticed a little bit, right? Now maybe they say you need a certain amount of money down the road, but you would initially be like, oh yeah, I'd love to go meet this athlete that I like, and that's why they get these. So they compromise these athletes that have this influence and this rep. He is a Hall of Fame basketball player, Chauncey Billups. He was a badass point guard. I do find it interesting that this investigation was going on for 2 years, and apparently the NBA was helping with it. And they're allowing him to continue coaching. Maybe they didn't know he was involved till recently, but it seems like he was an integral piece. I guess he wasn't the informant because he wouldn't have been arrested if he was. I wonder who the informant was, because the informant is going to be who told all, which the informant's probably going to be also an NBA player. Now, LeBron James, they didn't say LeBron James did anything knowingly, but LeBron James and a whole bunch of other players have been implicated. They say potentially outside of their awareness. There's going to be a lot bigger downfall to this. Did you know that people used to bet on WWE matches in the 80s? Did you know that?
No.
I didn't know that until recently. But people, despite how fake it was, people used to gamble on the outcome of WWE matches. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, because there's like a sheet that they would have like a one sheet before the matches, and on the one sheet for the wrestling, shows, it would always say who was gonna win the match on the wrestling sheet. So
in the 80s, people probably didn't have that. They didn't know that. They didn't have access to that. They would gamble on it. Who's to say that 20 years from now, people aren't going to go, people used to gamble in the NBA and football? Didn't everybody know the outcome was predetermined? So it feels like a revelation that the sports world and a lot of people, we've done shows discussing this in the past, that the sports world as we know it, the competitiveness of it is actually more like the WWE than a backyard battle or you're playing with your friend. Like there's a lot more controls than potentially we realize. Now the level of control, you can get a referee to so if a referee wants to make a bunch of money and like the over on who's a good player, Trae Young is going to score 30 tonight, over under. And if you are a referee who needs some money, what you're going to do is you're going to be like, you're going to bet, put all this money on the under. And then in the first quarter, what are you going to do? What would you do if you're the referee and you want to make sure Trae Young got the under without Trae Young being involved? You'd fucking call a foul. You'd call a foul. You'd ring him up for 3 fouls in the first quarter and he'd be on the bench for the next 2 quarters. That's how the referees would do it. And there's just so many ways. It's crazy. That's right, White Lightning. I'm not part of it, dude. I've never even been offered the opportunity to fix a game. Wouldn't that be interesting if like the evolution of betting it extended to like men's league basketball games? Like there's a men's league in Marietta, Georgia, and the over/under on how many points Binkley's going to score is 10.
Big world, baby.
And then the mob gets to him and they're like, look, hey, you've been on a hot streak. You had 15 last game. Maybe you'll want to get 8 this game if you ever want to see your family again. Then I might fake an injury in the first quarter. I haven't done that though, Groby.
You wish, dude. You wish.
My brother played. My brother played for Georgia Tech. They were number 1 in the nation. Nomar Garcia-Parra, Hall of Fame. Is he in the Hall of Fame? I don't know if he is. He will be. Jason Veritek, and at that time there was not the connectivity where it's like you're betting on college baseball. There is now though, and these athletes, they get bombarded by people, and this mob guy who goes to these colleges and talks to them, he's like, I tell the athletes, I'm like, look, you're gonna get in there and you're gonna have a lot of people approaching you because they know the position you're in. I don't care what your name is. Email me anonymously and tell me if you got a problem with it. I'm not gonna tell anybody. I'll help you with your problem. So he's like on the other side of it now, but he seems to be very credible to me. And his position is that it was prevalent in every single sport back then, and it's even more prevalent now. And somebody was talking about the WNBA because they were making fun of what's the guy who's like real animated, the black guy, Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith was like, you think Trump, the WNBA is next? Trump's coming after the WNBA. Like it was a real like weird take, but I don't know that it would be Trump coming after the WNBA. I think that we've reached a level of betting that it doesn't matter. You just have to find compromisable people who are in positions, who are well known enough to have prop bets made about them. So what's the tall black girl like Caitlin Clark or her rival? How many threes is Caitlin Clark going to hit? Well, then mobsters are going to target Caitlin Clark. It doesn't matter that not as many people watch it. It just matters that it's an individual that a lot of people are making prop bets on. And just like an influencer that has a big following is going to be targeted by propagandists to put their message in that person's mouth, anyone who is being betted on by a lot of people in Vegas and everywhere else is going to be incentivized to go one way or another. It's like zero. There's like a 0% chance that somebody hasn't tried to get Caitlin Clark to do something. What do you think? If you were a mobster?
Yeah, I don't know about Caitlin Clark.
But it doesn't matter the skill level. It just matters the number of the activity, the trending bets. And people bet all the time on Caitlin Clark. That guy, that Barstool Sports guy, David Portnoy, he bets hundreds of thousands of dollars on things that the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark are going to do. And so do other people. So it doesn't matter that it's boring to watch and that it doesn't get the ratings. It only matters the activity of the gambling that's going on around it. So that's like how they could get, people in kind of unexpected ways.
Maybe that would be a better one too.
Angel Reese, right? How many times is Angel Reese going to knock the rim off the backboard? Yeah, it's like, so my point there is that no sport nowadays that has any type of television branding or recognition is going to be immune from this, like college baseball probably used to be, and maybe volleyball. But nowadays, with everything, there's a gamble. And there's people trying to make money off of it. They had great teams back in the Crimmins era. Yeah, they did. Not too many since then. So they had some okay teams since then. 2004, there was a good team. Jared Jack was the point guard. All right, so let me show you a little bit more of this lady kind of articulates this stuff a little bit better, in my opinion. Can you see that? Yeah. Yeah, they have 3 people come up there, and they brag about the work of the FBI.
Good morning. Thank you to Director Patel, Assistant Director Rhea, and U.S. Attorney Nocella. What we're announcing today is not just another takedown. It's the result of more than 2 years of coordinated investigative work by the NYPD's Joint Organized Crime Task Force and the FBI. 2 cases that exposed criminal networks led by 34 individuals who believed the rules did not apply to them. They hid behind layers of complexity, behind money, and behind influence, believing those things would shield them from accountability. The first case...
And it usually does. Influence and money usually does shield people from accountability.
Operation Nothing But Bet exposed a gambling ring built around professional...
Sorry, I kind of interrupted that. It was Operation Nothing But Bet. It was the name of it. I wonder what names they turned down,
them from accountability. The first case, Operation Nothing But Bet, exposed a gambling ring built around professional basketball, where players and associates allegedly used inside information to manipulate prop bets on major sports betting platforms. They placed wagers on unders on players to score less.
Your mic went out. What's that mean?
Rebound less.
But that, say rebound, yeah.
Assist less, using information that was not yet public.
So that's what I'm talking about. You're all to make the smart bet. There's people everywhere betting on the over. More assists, more rebounds, more points. When you know that this is going on, you're really the odds might say one thing on the site, but when you factor this in, the odds are a lot different when you know that there are forces making sure that this player hits the under. You know what I mean? Because that's where they made all their money, betting on the under, because it doesn't take effort to get the under. It takes effort to get the over.
In some instances, players altered their performance or took themselves out of games to make sure that those bets paid out. One example occurred on March 23rd, 2023 in Charlotte. Terry Rozier, an NBA player now with the Miami Heat, but at the time playing for the Hornets, allegedly let others close to him know that he planned to leave the game early with a supposed injury. Using that information, members of the group placed more than $200,000 in wagers on his under statistics.
So these people close to him are probably friends or people involved with the mob, but let's say there's a player who is completely unaware of prop bets, but all their friends and family and people who know them are. And it's a pretty well-known thing that people, once they become a professional athlete, if they don't come from money, that friends of theirs start coming out of the woodworks. I think LeBron James's father was not in his life. I might be misremembering this, but I think he tried to come back into his life when he had all his money. You're going to have all these people trying to get some of the action that you've earned. And all these people are looking at these gambling sites and they see, oh, my cousin or whoever, wow, everybody's betting on him to get the over. This cousin calls him up and says, hey, man, we just got evicted, and me and my baby mama and my baby, we haven't eaten and we living on the streets, is like, really help me out if you hit that under. You know what I mean? And the guy hears that and he's probably like, I can't. He might be in his mind, or he might even say out loud, no, I can't do that. That's illegal, right? Even if that is what he says, he's going to be going into that game conflicted with, man, should I help out my fucking my homeless cousin with a newborn baby? And even if that person's lying to him, he's going to have that internal conflict. And even if it's not like an overt specific action, you could unconsciously maybe back off. You know what I mean? That could like away you, where it's like maybe you miss a free throw, or you're like you think about it in a fleeting moment. So just the fact that you're surrounded by people who see all this shit. Now, I don't know that that's the type of thing that somebody could get indicted for, but these are influences on every single game that are happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And a lot of this is hard to prove too, you know? It's
Right,
like,
totally. It's like, are you going to be a dickhead and you're going to like, so like you're telling me the over is 15 points and, you're shooting a free throw with 8 seconds left and you guys are up by 7. You're going to make that free throw, right? And put yourself in that player's position. And these players probably hear this shit from people all around them because like that mobster said, they're not always the smartest. Some of them are smarter than others, but they're not always the smartest, and they are immediately targeted by vultures. And so vultures are going to try and make them feel bad. It's like you're telling me that you'd rather pad your stats than help my family be able to get an apartment. And you're dribbling the basketball at that line. And you're picturing your cousin's kid begging for, and you throw a brick off the back. Like, you're an asshole if you make it, right? You're a criminal if you miss it on purpose. But where does the actual natural thing fall in here? Like, because you could make it or miss it even if you try your best. And so that's where a lot of this is going to get complicated, the influence of it. But the very fact that these types of bets exist, that one individual can determine the outcome of it, is why that gray area and all of the rest of it is a problem. Now, I'm not trying to advocate for any regulation or anything, but to me, this was a very obvious problem a long time ago, and not just in sports, but in politics and every single thing you can bet on. And what's ironic funny to me is that the people who've been making the most money off of it are the people who are already wealthy, are the government. Like, they've been fleecing the country and the world with it, and now it's like, well, we're going to now take down these other people because we have the power, so we can be the only one. Everybody's getting fleeced by people in power. And then you act like you're taking down these groups, these mob groups who are fleecing people. Yeah, great job, but you're also doing it. Like that's what, like, the crypto shit, the market manipulation, some of it is just mandated fleecing by institutions of power. It's like, It's why I'm very distrusting of institutions of power, Justin, if that's not very obvious.
You are?
Yeah,
No.
you didn't think so? I suck. You think I suck that D of
You're
authority?
such yeah.
Government's the biggest fleece. Yeah, it's fleece on fleece. And I'm not defending the people who did it. Like my whole thing that I've done for like 9 years now is like try and expose and deconstruct a con artist. So good, expose them. People should be aware of these tactics because these tactics are not only happening to wealthy people, they're happening to us. Governments are using them, and people on the streets. We knew somebody at Relapse who used to use these tactics. This person was a con artist off the street. She was a con artist off the street. It's everywhere. And you don't realize that people are capable of such manipulation and deception until the first time you realizing is happening to you or those around you. Then it like changes your entire worldview. Like in an instant, it's like, holy shit. Because most people would never do that. Most people would feel like guilty. I can't do that to somebody, which makes you think that other people would never do it, especially if they talk and sound like you and they seem like they're nice. But that's the whole thing. That's the con. That's the big con.
Rozier exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars in profit. The proceeds were later delivered to his...
Dude's making, $10 million a year, and he generated tens of thousands of profits. That's how you know he was compromised in some other way, Because he's not doing it for the money. Where's that thing?
Home, where the group counted their cash. As the NBA season tips off...
Wait, sorry, the screen went out, but wait, I missed that part about they went to the home and they counted their cash together. How could they even know that?
Rozier exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars in profit. The proceeds were later delivered to his home, where the group counted their cash. As the NBA...
Well, I would really like to see an AI depiction of that. This guy, I don't know what his exact contract. Rozier, he's a pretty good player, isn't he?
He was decent. He was mid.
Rozier contract. Let's see what he made. So Rozier signed a 4-year contract with the Charlotte Hornets for $96 million, which is average annual salary of so he's making $25 million a year, and he agrees to he bets on the under, fakes an injury, and then after the game he goes home and him and his buddies celebrate $10,000. Didn't that seem a little off?
I mean, I don't know. That detail is, I don't know, very specific and didn't have anything to do with...
Well, so that's the compromised angle of it. They're not going to reveal all the details of it, but the reason it was Rozier is because you could get him to do that. Because that's just not an addiction, like a gambling addiction. That's a weird... Yeah, there's definitely some information they're not revealing there because I don't think the mob is trying to just make like $10,000, I don't, unless this was like his family. There's
This seems like a smokescreen a little bit.
It's and so indictments and this has definitely been a problem when it comes to the Charlie Kirk case because the FBI is not trustworthy. So I get why people are skeptical, but indictments do not include all of the details of the investigation. The investigation's ongoing when an indictment comes out. The indictment only includes enough information to meet the probable cause standard to arrest somebody. And the probable cause standard is would a reasonable person believe that a crime was committed, not beyond a reasonable doubt, but that a crime was committed and that the person that is being arrested might have been involved. And that is a very, very low standard that is not a conviction. And all of the damning details that would rise it to a beyond reasonable doubt are kept close to the vest because If they're revealed, then it risks jeopardizing the entire case and getting it thrown out, because there could be other persons of interest you're going after that revealing such details would alert them, that would lead to them destroying evidence, or it could lead to the jury pool being tainted. There's like a whole long list of things that you learn in law school about why you need to only provide enough information in an indictment to get that indictment, or in a probable cause, to meet the probable cause standard. Because if you do too much, then you could get the case thrown out and a guilty person could walk free. That's literally how every criminal investigation in the country operates. Now, right now, people are like, well, if they're not providing full transparency, it must be that they're lying. FBI lies a lot, yeah. But also, that's the way investigations work. So the missing information there that comes out in trial is going to be what's most interesting. It's always what's most interesting. Is because the damning information comes out at trial. The stuff that goes, oh, this person's definitely guilty or not, comes out at trial, not in the indictment.
NBA season tips off. His career is already benched, not for injury, but for integrity. As a result of this investigation, 6 defendants, including Rozier, are now facing conspiracy to.
So he was benched he was benched for integrity. So that means so that means the coach knew. Is that what she's saying? Did you notice that?
Yeah. Sounds like that's what it was.
Like, what else would that mean? Yeah. And they were so they were talking to
of thousands of dollars in profit. The proceeds were later delivered to his home, where the group counted their cash. As the NBA season tips off, his career is already benched, not for injury, but for integrity.
For integrity, okay. Maybe that doesn't mean the coach, but I do find the image of them counting the cash. Do you think they really just they had like a grocery bag full of cash? You think it wasn't digitally sent to them? Like a gangster brought over a few. Like, what's $10,000 in stacks of cash? It's like a purse. It's like a tiny purse worth. You know what I mean? And they paint this image of a bunch of brothers sitting around in basketball shorts, like licking their fingers, counting stacks of cash. I don't think that happened in the digital world. What do you think?
Nah, dude.
You don't agree?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe they brought over a little. Here's your grocery bag. Here's I mean, $10,000, unless it's like ones. What if it was all like change? They brought over suitcases full of change. And they dumped it. Here's your $10,000 of winnings.
As a result of this investigation, 6 defendants, including Rozier, are now facing conspiracy to commit bank and wire fraud. In a second case, Operation Zen Diagram, investigators uncovered a long-running scheme in which members and associates of several well-known organized crime families rigged high-stakes poker games across the country. These operatives included capos and multiple soldiers from the Bonanno, Gambino, Lucchese, and Genovese crime families, bringing 4 of the 5 families together in a single indictment is extraordinarily rare. It reflects how deep and how far this investigation reached and the skill and the persistence it took to get here. That work uncovered a deliberate, technologically sophisticated operation designed to carry out their crimes. They used custom shuffling machines that could read the order of cards, barcoded decks, and hidden cameras built into tables and light fixtures. The organizers also enlisted well-known public...
Built into desk and light fixtures. Just think about that. Now, every room I walk into for the rest of my life, I'm going to be looking at the light fixtures and the desk. Like, where's the camera? You know? I mean, the technology they use, it just seems to be very advanced technology. But maybe not. Maybe you can get it. I mean, you can get, like, you can buy clocks. You can buy fire alarms on Amazon that have hidden cameras. You can buy iPhone charging blocks that have hidden cameras. It's like we should probably assume that there's always some hidden camera somewhere. Are those glasses meta glasses you're wearing, Justin?
I'm recording everything you're doing.
You're recording this whole conversation
I'm
right now?
recording This, yeah.
I can't believe you
recording this recording.
You would
dude.
betray my trust and record this recording.
Figures, former and current NBA players and coaches, including Chauncey Billups, the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, an NBA champion and a Hall of Famer, to make the games appear legitimate. Victims believed that they were sitting at a fair table. Instead, they were cheated out of millions. One victim in particular lost $1.8 million. In total, losses exceeded $7 million and continue to climb. And when people refused to pay, these defendants did what organized crime has always done. They used threats, they used intimidation, and they used violence. It's the same pattern that we have seen for decades. Traditional mob enforcement methods combined with new technology to expand the reach of their operations. Now, with the unsealing of today's indictment, 34 individuals are facing charges, including robbery, extortion.
So I haven't read the full indictment. I've gone through some of it. There are more interesting details in the indictment about all of it. And there's videos going around of the moment that Rozier faked his injury. And it seems like, oh, wow. You wouldn't notice it in real time because it's not on the front of your mind that you're not constantly looking for the player that is who's rigging something for the mob. You're just watching a game. But now that you know this and then you watch the video, it's like, oh, wow, that was definitely a faked injury. And how does this make you feel when it comes to like watching sports now?
Definitely don't trust it anymore. I haven't, trusted it in a little while just because of, like I said, I feel like, I don't know, the way the game's sort of refereed now and like you've talked about with the betting, there just seems to be more of a, I don't know. It seems rigged.
Yeah.
It just seems a little rigged.
You have
talk
to
about it all the time now.
Right, and especially after this, and it's like you have to trust that the integrity of everybody involved, the players, referees, the coaches, exceeds whatever level of pressure they're receiving from those trying to compromise them, which are going to be targeting their financial well-being and the well-being of their family. So that's going to tip in favor of anybody who wants to be okay and survive in life. Is with enough pressure, if they've been caught in a certain situation, they're going to do the thing that helps them and their family survive, which is most of the time not going to be play a fair game without doing what they're told. And it's
they get to get their family money if they play the game right. They get to keep their money. These guys love to give their family money, give a little bit of their family money. That's not their money. They don't have to take it away from them. And they get to take a little bit of years off. They don't have to play as hard. They don't have to run their bodies into the ground. That's probably what they're thinking a little bit.
Absolutely. It's an offer you can't refuse.
It's a great deal.
It's a good
That's
deal.
all you got to do. You don't even have to play the whole
look. Hey, everybody thinks you're gonna have your fourth double in a row. I tell you what, it'd be a shame if you had your fourth double in a row and your little nephew ended up dead. But hey, hey, maybe you don't get the double and your nephew lives to be 95. I don't know, because it's Andrew Dice Clay who is sent to pressure them, I guess.
Yeah. Andrew Dice Clay, post character.
So check this out. I thought it'd be interesting, just real quick, to look at So with this in mind, what are some of the prop bets tonight? 3 best NBA prop bets for Friday, 10/24. And first one is Jaylen Brown scores over 35.5 points.
He's compromised, dude.
But you see what I'm talking about?
Well, he's fucking compromised.
When one individual player can control it, you have to trust that individual player can resist all of the forces of pressure from the mob and anybody else interested who's corrupt, who might threaten their family. You have to trust that they would risk their family's life to get the over. So I will never bet on the over in my life because knowing this. Why would you? Always bet the unders. I'm not saying do that, but like that's the safe bet. That's the mob bet.
That's the safest bet, but probably the biggest payout bets are the ones where it's the.
Well, right, but like so, but they're
over.
gonna do it. They're gonna target people who are on streaks or runs, where everybody's like, so and so's
Yeah,
been
they're
on
trying to-
fire.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And they 3 games in a row he's had 20 points, and he's playing the worst team in the league. It has no defense. They're playing the Hawks. You know, they got no defense. So it's like it'd be crazy if he didn't score 35 points. That's the one that the mob's gonna be like, hey, maybe Trae Young plays the best defensive game of his life, and you get 6 tonight. That's gonna be the game, right?
Oh, yeah.
That, you know, so this is gonna be my mentality. I don't bet on sports, but if I were to, that would be my mentality. Is like, where's the mob trying to make most of their money, and how can I bet along with the mob?
You bet, dude. You put all that money on the Braves, and I know it for a fact.
I did. So I did. I did because it was $50. I was willing to, the Braves were out of it, and I was like, you know what? The Braves have won like 8 in a row. I'm willing to lose $50 on the outside chance that they win 19 in a row, and I lost that $50. You're right, Ridgeway. But
How dare you?
these athletes, so you can get on these like digital. I did it just to try it. I did it one night. And you can like sign up for these websites where you can just play 3-card poker and blackjack. You can sit on your couch and for 20 minutes play 3-card poker and blackjack on a real betting site, and you can lose $1,000. I mean, I didn't lose like that much. I just put $200 in, but like you just sit there and like you're playing with your phone, just like you're sending text message or hearting a picture you like on Instagram. It's the same function feature, except you're pushing these things like my dad used to play solitaire on his computer, and I would play it too to learn how to play, and I wasn't losing money every time I lost, but it's the exact same thing, except every time you lose, oh, there goes $50. It's like, oh fuck, and I put $200 in, and after 10 minutes. I had lost $195. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. It's so addictive. And I can cut this off cold turkey. I was just trying to do it for the experience. But man, people who can't cut this off cold turkey, it doesn't matter how wealthy they are. They'll lose everything, dude. It's so easy to lose everything.
Dude, I know a guy who it wasn't even gambling, and he put all his money into a Simpsons town.
Well, on like the Simpsons town, the metaverse.
He built himself a little Simpsons town from this app, this game, long time ago.
What was it called? The app.
I think it was like
Roblox.
Tap Out, Simpsons Tap Out, or something like that. I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but he spent, I want to say, close to a G on it.
And he created like a virtual world.
He created this virtual world, and I don't think that fucking app even exists anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, so there was a lot of like grifting off of like buy all this land in the metaverse. If you buy this land, it's going to be worth so much money. It's like,
I remember that.
Is it going to be worth? People would spend lots of money on it.
Snoop Dogg bought some.
Snoop Dogg bought some shit, and you can actually get a job as Snoop Dogg's joint roller for like $50,000 a year. I think he's underpaying his joint rollers personally because that is one of his primary things. But getting out of here, we'll end on this, and this is how. I want everybody, if you have the time or listen to it, read or listen to The Big Con, because it really does. It's insightful to the world we live in today, and the mindset and the tactics and what people are willing to do that most normal, well-intentioned people are not. And the glossary at the end of this book I won't put it on the screen, but the first word is addict. The first glossary definition for the confidence man is addict. And it says, a mark who believes so firmly in a sure thing investment that he comes back again and again. And that is what the people who they were drawing into the poker games were. They led them to believe that they were going to win again and again. They had no idea that everybody else had the X-ray vision. And then another definition is it's called the best of it. That's the term. And the best of it is a prearranged method of cheating which will abstainably allow the mark to profit by dishonest means. All marks crave the best of it, a cinch, a sure thing. And I speculate that these marks, who were the victims of the crimes that are in this indictment, believed that they were going to be part of I think that they thought they were going to be part of a rigged illegal game that they were going to win, completely unaware that it was all set up for them to lose. Because people they would be, oh fuck, you mean I can have this I can have this insider information as long as I play a few things right. So they play off of that desire to sneakily win. And the arrogance, it's crazy. Like so this book, like, it profiles the personalities and the proclivities of the people they target, and they're totally. It's like confidence men, even though they're not psychologists professionally, they understand human psyche better than most people, and they exploit these arrogances. Like the CIA used to have something called MICE, where this was used, the MICE acronym, when it comes to choosing which people to turn into double spies. And it's like ideology, compromise was one, but compromise meant they're worried about financial things with their family. And they just targeted the weak points of human psyches, and they found out what motivated people the most. And then they fucking set up situations that they could exploit that. And these con men are like no different than the CIA when it comes to that. Another one is called The Big Con, the name of the book, which is anytime a big confidence game in which a mark is put on the send for his money, as contrasted to the short con where the touch is limited to the amount the mark has with him at the time. There are 3 recognized big con games. 3. The wire, the payoff, and the rag. However competent confidence men, they often put the send into short con games, especially the smack and the tip. This is how it's described, with very good results. The smack and the tip. Like, this is why this book is interesting, because you'll get all these cool terms that they talk with. Some may seem sexual or not, but competent confidence men put the send into short con games, especially the smack and the tip, with very good results. Touches on the big con range from 10K up, and that's what this was, the big con. And the big con is establishment in which big con men play their victims, which is what the Chauncey Billups thing was. For the wire, the payoff is a setup like a pool room in which takes a lot of bets, and for the rag, it is a setup to resemble a broker's office. Stores are set up with a careful attention to detail, which makes them seem to be bona fide. And after each play, the store is taken down and all the equipment is stored away in charge of the manager. So the marks could go back to the place they got fleeced the next day, and there would be no evidence of the place that they thought it was. Everybody would be gone. We got to get out of here. I'll do more of these con men terms. There's a whole glossary of them. They're very interesting. I'll do it in the next show. Justin, thanks for hanging out and letting me ramble and having fun. I love having you on the show. We have it's fun talking to you, because I know you love to just like fold up in your smart bed and ply your face hole so often. You're willing to talk about it.
You son of a bitch.
You're a twisted sexual deviant.
You fucking twist up like a pretzel, and you just love to just roll around sucking your own dick, dude. That's exact. On that vibrating bed, you just be vibrating.
I don't have a vibrating bed. Oh, right. You're the one that opened the show talking about all the data you leave on your analog bed.
Dude.
You are sick and twisted, and I love you, and thank you for being on the show. Thank you guys for watching.
Too, buddy.
And thanks for the comments, and I appreciate it. Propagandafight.com, propaganda report on your podcasting app. If you're listening on audio, let the ads play through. It helps us. If you skip, we don't get anything. But if you want to get access to the subscriber-only show that I do with Austin Picard and Sam Tripoli, then you can subscribe at Propaganda Report on Patreon and on Locals. And love you guys. We'll see y'all next week. Go Jackets. Have a fantastic rest of your evening. Later.